Archaeology, a branch of science that sheds light on the history of life and mankind. Archaeologists carry out long and difficult excavations looking for clues, such as tools, works of art, household items, and the like, that can provide clues about the history of life and living things. Every remain they find is a discovery in the name of history and an important resource that can illuminate the history of life and of mankind. Coins, hand tools, kitchen equipment, and decorative goods all provide important clues about the lives of people in the past. Archaeologists know that the items they find do not appear under the ground by chance. Nobody has ever claimed that they do. Even if we do not actually witness these items being made, we can still be certain of the existence of people who designed and made them. Together with the information they contain, all these objects and artifacts are intelligent designs. They were designed and produced for a specific purpose. They reflect the labor, expertise, taste, and intelligence of the artists who made them. It would be quite irrational to suggest that any intelligent design came into being by chance, under the effects of natural conditions. So, what about life? How should people who realize that even a simple artifact from under the ground is the product of design account for the origin of living things, each one of which has its own complexity? Mankind has made enormous advances in science and technology since the second half of the 20th century. Discoveries in the field of biophysics, biochemistry, and genetics in particular have shown scientists that the details that go to make up life are of a far greater complexity than they had ever imagined. However, scientists who became greatly excited at the discovery of a simple remain were much less excited when they discovered the complex structure of life. This dilemma was expressed by the American biochemist Michael Behe, one of today's best-known scientists. Over the past 4 decades, modern biochemistry has uncovered the secrets of the cell. The progress has been hard-won. It has required tens of thousands of people to dedicate the better parts of their lives to the tedious work of the laboratory. The result of these cumulative efforts to investigate the cell, to investigate life at the molecular level, is a loud, clear, piercing cry of design. The result is so unambiguous and so significant that it must be ranked as one of the greatest achievements in the history of science. But no hands clapped. Why does the scientific community not greedily embrace its startling discovery? The dilemma is that while one side of the issue is labeled intelligent design, the other side must be labeled God. The cell and a great many living things in nature show us the superior knowledge, intelligence, and artistry of the Creator who brought them into being. That superior Creator is God, the Lord of all the worlds. He is God, the Creator, the Maker, the Giver of form. To Him belong the most beautiful names. Everything in the heavens and earth glorifies Him. He is the Almighty, the All-Wise. The allegedly scientific theory which rejects the creation of living things and seeks to account for the origin of life in terms of blind chance is Charles Darwin's theory of evolution. Darwin set out his theory in the book The Origin of Species, published in 1859. According to Darwin, all life comes from a common ancestor, and life forms evolved from one another by small, gradual changes. For instance, dinosaurs, which used their forearms to feed, gradually grew wings and took flight. Or bears, which hunted fish in the water, turned into whales over the course of time. Yet this claim was a violation of both reason and intellect, as well as science, and the theory, devoid as it was of any scientific evidence, clearly revealed the perversion of denying the existence of a creator. Darwin maintained that there was a constant struggle to the death in nature. According to his unscientific claims, food resources were insufficient, and there was a ruthless war going on in the arena known as Earth, one in which the strong and those able to adapt to natural conditions survived, and in which the weak and sickly species were eliminated. The concept of conflict, which can be seen in the subtitle to The Origin of Species, the preservation of the favored races in the struggle for life, was one of the foundation stones of the theory of evolution. According to Darwin, individuals which possessed advantages in this struggle for life would survive and multiply. These advantageous differences would thus combine and give rise to new features, new organs, and new species. The fact that this claim of Darwin's is a totally imaginary one would only later be revealed by means of advances in the field of science. On close inspection, this claim of Darwin's, in an evolutionary process that progressed from 1 to 5 stages, required that for a living species to survive, each individual stage had to give rise to a more advantageous physiological structure than the one preceding it. That meant that the theory of evolution rested entirely upon the assumption that living systems could be reduced to minute but advantageous steps. Useful features would be chosen by the mechanism Darwin referred to as natural selection, and non-useful ones would be eliminated and disappear. In this way, beneficial small changes accumulating over the course of time would in the long term lead to one species turning into another.
For Charles Darwin, natural selection explained the appearance of design without a designer. There was no longer any need to invoke an intelligent cause for the complexity of life. In effect, natural selection became a kind of designer substitute.
This claim, however, could never account for exceedingly complex organs and systems, which are incapable of developing by degrees, and which cannot be reduced to a simpler form. Irreducibly complex organs and systems that will cease to have any function in the absence of any one of their components deal a serious blow to the theory of evolution. That is because it is impossible to propose that an organ that will not function in the absence of even the smallest of its components evolved gradually through a series of minute changes. Charles Darwin was aware of this and wrote in his book The Origin of Species, "If it could be demonstrated that any complex organ existed which could not possibly have been formed by numerous successive slight modifications, my theory would absolutely break down. But I can find out no such case.